Hey neighbors, Kevin here with eTrailer, and today we have our friend Sean from B&W here, and they're going to be telling us a little bit more about the B&W Continuum Weight Distribution Hitch. So Sean, can you tell me a little bit more about how this system works and what makes it stand out compared to others on the market?
Absolutely. So this is our Continuum Weight Distribution Hitch. We did things a little bit differently than your traditional weight distribution hitch, which you're used to having the torsion bars or the chains, things like that. This is going to be a hydraulic driven weight distribution hitch. So instead of using the torsion bars, you've got a hydraulic cylinder with your hydraulic pump. Your customer is going to have a specific PSI rating for their truck and trailer. Whatever that number is, you pump that handle. That needle is going to rise up with the hydraulic pressure. Once that needle hits that number, you stop and you can go ahead and take off and begin your journey.
Having this so tight and compact here, it just really makes a huge difference.
Absolutely, yes. So it pretty much takes the need of having to jack your trailer up, using a tool to get those bars over and connected. All of those pain points from a traditional weight distribution hitch, we put a lot of thought into how to rid of those and still be able to either meet or exceed your weight distribution and your sway capabilities as a traditional weight distribution hitch. The less room you need is basically 2 inches right here. So you need 2 inches from the back of the coupler plate to the front of the propane bracket. That's really the only measurement that you're going to need for this hitch. The pump bracket there, it can be moved up and down if you've got a brake controller or you've got a battery disconnect like we have over there. You can kind of measure that and put it wherever you need to put it. There's not an exact measurement there, so it's kind of up to the end user, and then we provide plenty of hose there to be able to maneuver that wherever you need to.
So another issue a lot of weight distribution hitch owners have is that once they get to their campsite, they can't just pull right in. They got to get out, undo the spring bars, and then they can finally back up into the camping spot. Now, you've told us before that this is able to back up. How is that possible with this system?
Absolutely, yes. So you can back into your campsite without needing to depressurize or remove any components of our Continuum weight distribution hitch. The reason is there's really nothing attached to the frame. There's no tension actually on the frame of the trailer itself. The bars can stay loaded. You can back in and then release them, decouple, and take off. That's really all you need to do.
So one of the other main concerns, aside from just distributing that weight, is sway control. So how does this manage that sway and keep our trailer in line?
So traditionally, the verbiage when you talk about a weight distribution sway control hitch has been the term sway control. Sway control pretty much implies that you are controlling it after it starts. So a traditional weight distribution hitch, your trailer is going to start to sway. You're going to release one side, you're going to load another. So it's going to try to correct it after it starts. What we like is sway prevention. So this is more of a sway prevention hitch than it is a sway control hitch. And the reason is that the bars here on the Continuum, they stay loaded continually through the whole tow, hence the name Continuum. So you've got a solid connection between the hitch, the truck, the trailer throughout the entire tow. So there's nothing to release, nothing to put a load on. You're staying continually loaded through the whole tow.
Now, we have a lot of people that typically come in for both a weight distribution hitch and then some other kind of aftermarket rear suspension enhancement. Now, typically that's going to be air springs, and I actually do a lot of air spring installs myself. I even have one right after this I have to go hop on. What is your opinion on air springs when it comes to using the Continuum?
Yeah, so the Continuum weight distribution hitch eliminates the need to use airbags. So airbags are not going to be necessary to run the Continuum. When you pressurize that load bar, it's going to bring the truck up to where it needs to be. If you run an airbag system alongside the Continuum weight distribution hitch, they fight against each other. So you're not going to get the effective amount of weight distribution and sway control as you would with airbags. We recommend deflating the airbags to the minimum amount that the manufacturer of that airbag recommends, and then just rolling with that.
So now that we are hooked up, how exactly do we find the right pressure? How does this whole pump system work with this?
So each truck and trailer is going to be different depending on the tongue weights of the trailer and the suspension of the truck. So if you're sagging like this, you're obviously going to want to bring that up to get your weight distributed properly. There's a couple of ways to determine how to get that number. One way is if you know what your VTW is, your vertical tongue weight is, while you're loaded, you can take that times 1.2, and that will tell you what your PSI reading is. A lot of times that requires going to a scale, getting a really accurate reading. The other way you can do it is the old school way. Pull your truck on flat level ground, measure from the ground to the bottom of the front driver wheel well, then couple your trailer on it. It's going to change that measurement. You'll take that second measurement and you'll pump that handle until you get halfway in between those two numbers. And whatever that needle says at that point, that's exactly what you're going to use every single time.
Now, what happens if we go a little bit over that? Is that going to be a problem?
So
Is there any
1 to 200 PSI, either above or below, is completely normal. That's going to be okay. You do want to stay right around that PSI number. For this truck and trailer, we're at 700 PSI. So I know that when we go to leave, I'm going to pump this up until that needle says 700. When I stop and get gas, I'm going to just give it an eye to see if we're still in, if I need to release a little bit or add a little bit, I can do that on the fly. So I need to be at 700 PSI. So I will go ahead and start pumping this up. The load bar is going to come up.
And you're easily doing that with one hand.
Two fingers. You can do it with 2 fingers if you want. All right.
Set up in a matter of seconds.
That's it. Now my weight distributed off of the rear axle, 50% of it back onto the front axle. So now we are technically like this and not like this or not like that.
So this does look like a fun toy for those that have kids. I know mine especially would be over here cranking away on it. What is the protection for this if we just go crazy over? Like,
Okay.
What if we start pumping and we're hitting way past that 100 or 200 wiggle room?
Sure, very easy. So I actually put it up to about 900 right now, which 700 is where I need to be. So if I need to back it off a little bit, you can just release that needle valve and start over.
So as time goes on, a lot of people are swapping out their trailers, usually within 3 to 5 years. What if I'm upgrading or downgrading? Do I need to buy any other components? Do I need to swap anything out with this hitch so I can switch over to that other trailer?
No, sir. That's another nice thing about the Continuum weight distribution hitch. The head unit here is rated for 16,000. The load bar is rated for 600 to 1600 vertical tongue weight. So that pretty much covers all travel trailers that you can purchase. You're going to have a hard time finding one that exceeds that. So yeah, you would just take the hitch off your trailer and move it onto your new one.
So since this does live outside for the majority of the time here, since that'll just rack right up onto that bracket that's mounted to the trailer jack, are there any maintenance tips that we should be following so that we make sure that our system's properly running each time?
So we put a lot of thought into the maintenance side of this hitch to make it easier for the end user. The hydraulic system here is all self-contained. There's no maintenance that you have to do. There's no fill valve. You don't have to add hydraulic fluid. It is all self-contained. Now, on the head unit itself, the load bar will snap onto this little spindle right here. That spindle rotates 360 degrees. It's a dual manifold up in here, so you'll turn it this way, hit the top one, turn it that way, hit the bottom one, and we recommend to do that every 500 to 600 miles.
So now we've gone through our system here in a much more detailed fashion. Could you just give a quick summary of why a neighbor would want this specifically for their trailer?
Absolutely. So the first and foremost thing is the ease of use. It is super easy to use no matter what your capabilities are. I've seen a 6-year-old kid pump this up and get it ready to go. So it virtually can be used by anyone. The The nice thing about the head unit is you don't have to worry about bolts or washers or nuts. The head unit works just like our tow and stow does, where you just pull the pins, you can run it up and down depending on how high you need your trailer coupler to be. The Continuum does not have any wear points or any friction points. So it's virtually silent when you tow. It's really no different than hooking up to an enclosed trailer with a regular ball mount and towing it down the road. But just the ease of use, that is the number one thing that people like about this hitch. You can literally, after you load, you can be coupled up, pressurized, and leaving your campsite in under 3 minutes. And that's huge.
Really makes a difference.
Absolutely.
So with all that said, I really hope this makes a difference for you at home as well and helps you decide which hitch is going to be the right fit for your setup.